Hey, everybody. It's Eric Anderson and Chris Grosse, and here's the first official edition of the Content Crib podcast, where we have no idea what's going to happen on each episode, which makes it even more interesting. So without further ado, I'll let Chris do your introduction.
Hey guys, Chris Grosse here. Eric, thank you very much. Let's be real. The world doesn't need another podcast, but we're here to help inspire you, give you guys some tidbits that we learned along the way, and that we're still learning every day. And we're excited to kick this off. And we'll do this in different ways every week. Be the two of us, and then the occasional guest. So look forward to that. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be cool that we're going to do this weekly because all kinds of new ideas, all kinds of new guests coming on, and one of the things why we even decided to do this podcast, because apparently, if you're able to breathe, stand upright, and live in the United States, you're supposed to have a podcast, is what I've been told. So here we go. Yeah. But one of the things why we started brainstorming doing this is because obviously the overwhelming success of Content Crib, our meeting, the hundreds of people now that have gone through our Content Crib meetings, and we get questions and DMs all the time, and we thought, why not turn this into a podcast where hopefully we can help educate each week? So obviously that's what we've done, and here we are. So I guess you want to go into a little bit of the background, Chris, of why, when, how, and all that fun stuff?
Yeah, sure. So, thanks for talking about why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And in background on it, Content Crib, we just wrapped up in Portland not too long ago. Was that about a month ago?
Yeah, it was a month.
Maybe a few weeks ago now.
Yep.
We had a great meeting. It was fantastic. And we are well on our way to just about sold out for Bentonville coming up in October, which I think is going to be our most exciting get-together yet. Super personalized, super prescriptive on dialing in the business model for each attendee, which is really cool. We've done each Content Crib a little bit differently every time. We've had guest speakers, we've had keynotes, and it's evolving as technology evolves and social media is evolving and as personal branding is evolving, and we're learning as we go, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, man. I kind of, as Content Crib was born a long time ago in a questionable cartel house out in the middle of the desert in Las Vegas, where I think there was about 10 or 12 at first started. We thought all of it would be all about sharing content ideas and what works and what doesn't work. And it's become so much more now. It's become a networking event for really some just impressive people all the way around. I mean, from every walk of life we've had, whether it's been healthcare entrepreneurs, medtech marketers, medtech salespeople, physicians, surgeons, you name it, weight clinic owners, logistics. I could go on and on. I'm probably missing a lot, but it's really become a networking.
Well, it's cool. We get a different vertical each time, right? We learn something new that we haven't even explored yet.
We really do, and I'm thrilled. I mean, every time that I think about, we get a new sign up, and I kind of do a little research. If they haven't been before, I do a little research on them. And I'm like, man, that's definitely somebody I want to talk to when I see them at the meeting.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, going back to the original, not everybody knows that story. And I wasn't in attendance in Las Vegas, but I hear a lot about the Portuguese lasagna that Joe Miller, the Godfather, as most people know, and Matthew whipped up. I want to hear a little bit more about that dish.
Okay, well, let's make this. I'm going to make it very clear here. There was no effort on my part whatsoever. I don't know anything about cooking unless it's a grill or something. The master chef was definitely Matthew Ray Scott. He has spent time in culinary school, and he enjoys making food that's absolutely delicious. So I walk into the Content Crib, the inaugural Content Crib. It was hilarious. This place was down like the end of a dirt road, way outside the city limits of Las Vegas, and you're like looking around. It's pretty sketchy. But then all of a sudden you make the turn, there's this, huge house and anyway. But I walk in the door and of course there's Joe Miller and a bunch of different people that we all know and Patrick Jamnick was there and several people were there. And Matthew turns to me and goes, "Hey, have you ever had?" Stu Brandon was there. Sorry, I don't want to miss Stu. Have you ever had Portuguese lasagna? And I thought it was like a joke. And I was supposed to, no, but have you ever had, one of those type jokes? And no, that wasn't it. But there's really something called Portuguese lasagna. And Matthew made it, and it was absolutely fantastic. And we all ate it, and it was absolutely delicious. In fact, to the point where I think people had it for breakfast the next day. So, it was
Maybe,
fun.
maybe out of desperation in the deserts of Las Vegas.
Yeah, it was.
No other food source.
There was no other food source. I do think that and I'm being dead serious. Like the next night, we had like pizza. We ordered from like Papa John's or something. But it was the first, kind of group of 10 that we had, and it was we had a lot of fun, man. It was just sharing ideas and being able to bounce ideas off of people what they're doing. Dr. Barber from Mobile, Alabama came. He was the only physician, and he just, if you've ever met Dr. Barber, he was just sitting there hanging with us and discussing the ideas that he had with us, and it was really cool.
Great guy.
Yeah, he is a great guy. So, yeah, Content Crib has come a long way. We now have usually the buildings that we have it in don't have bullet holes. They're on paved streets. We've moved up in the world, so 5.0 should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, man, Bentonville, what a great place to visit in the fall. I mean, I did a little bit of hiking when I was there, and who knew it was the biking capital of the USA?
Yeah,
beautiful spot.
it really is, man. And so, it's funny is when Matthew was like, "Hey, let's do it in Bentonville," I go, "Okay, what are we going to do? Catering from Chili's? Is that our options?" I was being kind of facetious, but what a cool town. Great place, great people all the way around. I mean, the venue where we have it, the Ledger, is just top notch. The lodging is right across, the hotel's right across the street, not to mention Airbnbs all around. So yeah, it's a great spot, and it's probably going to turn into where we have it at least once a year, where our plans to have 2 content cribs a year. And one is probably going to be in Bentonville just because of it's centrally located in that respect.
Yeah, and I don't want to lose track on what we're talking about and how it started and how it evolved. When it started, I think it was in a place where people on LinkedIn wanted to get together and they want to riff ideas and I think the big thing is find your voice right along the way. For the new people that are maybe listening to this, how would you describe, the evolution from the very beginning to kind of what it is now? What have you seen in between that's been kind of cool and inspirational and different that you didn't expect out of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really starting out, it was going to be a group of people, like you said, just riffing off each other. Just, hey, what are you seeing in the marketplace as far as LinkedIn? How are you shaping your message? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? All that fun stuff. And then it really turned into, it was the same thing with Content Crib 2.0, which we did in Bentonville. And, as they kind of moved on, it just became more of a resource and a valuable community to people that they can reach out to people who are there at Content Crib. They're kind of we kind of call it the Content Crib tribe. And, ask questions like, hey, I'm going out to Los Angeles. Do you guys know a good venue for me to, questions like that. And it's really moved from, let's talk about different content type situations and what are you doing and why you're doing it, to, hey, do you think you can help me with this? And that's really needed in this day and age, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's a big reason why we decided to do this podcast too, to share those stories, what's working, what's not. I mean, things are moving at light speed right now, and to keep up with it all is extremely difficult. So I think that you would agree that we are learning just as much as we are teaching and bringing in new guests and new speakers and then new strategies. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, 100%. And there's so like you said, it's things are moving at lightning speed. I mean, why don't you talk about where you just were at an AI conference
Yeah.
and you learned a ton of different I mean, you're telling me things that I'm going, my head was kind of spinning a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did something pretty interesting the other day. I'm kind of a go to market prospecting kind of nerd, I guess. And
You probably should get
when
more
I
hobbies,
when I
but
do what's that? Yeah, I probably should get some more hobbies. I mean, it is boat season, so
oh, okay. Well, there
if
you
we
go.
get more sunny, if we do get more sunny days like we did today, be taking advantage of that and
There you go.
not talking about sales market strategy. But yeah, so I got an email invite because I subscribed to Zoom Info and Apollo's like updates and whatnot. And Zoom Info is in town doing a, promote their product type networking event, but then had some key speakers, chief revenue officers, and rev ops people. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go and check that out. And I've used Zoom Info. I've been a Zoom Info customer before on the data side, like way back before they started doing these CRMs that are, have AI integrated into them. And it was fascinating going there and meeting the different people that are in tech because I think it's important, even in the healthcare space. We see it every day. It's so outdated in terms of go to market. It's that, we talk about it all the time, selling like it's 1997, which 1997, my favorite year ever. BMX bikes and N64, but we can talk about that in another podcast. But yeah, in terms of the sales process is really outdated. So I've tried to the last couple of years take some of the software as a service tech strategies and implement it into my day-to-day prospecting, and it's worked
So
fantastic. And it's
smart.
not a silver bullet, still utilizing the in-person visits, even mailing and, phone calls and call blocks and all that, but tech strategies. And we'll talk a lot about personalized video, one of our mainstays, personalized videos with Virtual Sales RX. But yeah, I mean, main takeaway from the conference that I went, or not conference, but networking event, was AI is moving so fast, and everybody was watching, and the speakers were talking, and it's essentially we were just all sitting there being like, we don't really know what it's going to look like 6 months from now, let alone 5 years from now. So you better learn and upskill, and as fast as you can all the time. Otherwise, you'll become irrelevant. It was kind of the feeling I got. So, that was interesting.
Well, from talking to you, it seems that with technology moving so fast, well, let me get your opinion. What do you
Sure.
think that does to content? What do you think that does to people's messages and personal branding? I have my philosophy on what AI is going to do to it, but wanted to, get your thoughts on what you think the future looks like of that piece of the puzzle, at least.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's a great question, and we're kind of seeing it right now, right? There's so much AI writing and ghost writers, and it's kind of filling up our feeds with um, not the best content. So some people are taking a step back, which I find interesting. But I still think pedal the metal on personal branding is definitely the way to go, and social selling techniques to find your customers on the on the social networks. And I think that you need to stick with that. And it's all cyclical, right? We're going to see different things go and come back, and people are going to stop doing them. And then all of a sudden you're an outlier and you're doing it again. So it's, in my opinion, to answer to your question, I think creating personal content is super important and need to keep doing it.
Oh, I totally agree. I agree. I think you got to triple down on it. I mean, especially right now, um, if people want to take time out of their busy schedule and read about the dead internet theory, it's a theory that's been going around that essentially right now about 80% of the internet is just bots and AI talking to each other. That's really all it
Yeah.
is. And when you're looking at stuff, everything's generated by AI, basically. So, what an opportunity to not do that. How about that? Which is
Yeah.
my thought process. I mean, and so anybody listening, it's okay to put up a goofy video of you doing whatever you're doing and sharing value that way. And it's okay that you probably have the wrong punctuation in your post because AI never has wrong punctuation. So there you go.
Yeah. And I think, taking a step back, a big part of what Content Crib is getting over that initial fear and imposter syndrome of, either hitting record or hitting post on one of your pieces of content that you're gonna put out there to the world. It's not easy. It can seem like, some of these people and content creators that are putting things out there that they've been doing it, for years and years. Some of them can be relatively new and may have been extremely nervous to do it beforehand. So you're not alone, and that's a big part of what we talk about Content Crib, and some of the newer people jump on and take that away.
Yeah, and I think it's even more so. There just really isn't a meeting like Content Crib, and the vast majority of people there are in healthcare. But there's just not a meeting. I mean, I ask people all the time, like, hey, do you ever go to a meeting in which you're surrounded by people who are talking about personal branding and why they're doing it and their content? And the answer is always no. And I think and also because we're so focused on healthcare, we have other people that come, but we're focused on healthcare. We really, know the pulse of what's going on and what's happening. And if we could just encourage people, or if we can stop companies from just posting a picture of one of their products with like features and benefits and big words on it, I think my mission in life will be completed with Content Crib because it's so absolutely terrible. But anyway, that's my personal
I wanted
feeling.
to ask you, yeah, yeah. I wanted to ask you what was one of your favorite things about the last Content Crib in Portland? I know mine, but I wanted to see what
Yeah,
you
I
think.
mean, boy, gosh, we had fantastic speakers that came, we had guest speakers that came. I the story that I told at when I introduced Kevin Brown. I mean, I came across Kevin because he had posted somehow on how to tie your scrubs correctly, and for my entire career, I couldn't tie scrubs correctly, and he taught me that, so now my pants didn't fall down. I know that's really I should have given you a much more, inspiring answer, but that really, but just Kevin,
No, but that's the important part about it,
yeah.
right? You just never know. I mean,
Well,
how to become
and
memorable.
and Kevin's journey and what he's doing was really just really cool and inspiring. And yeah, and listen, hey, I thought all the speakers. I mean, I love Seth Turnoff's talk. I mean, he was
Yeah,
great.
me too. Me
Joe
too.
Urban from Zimmer was fantastic. I mean, he just gave a really inspirational talk on why they are, as a large strategic, going all in on content, and why they are personalizing their message and why they're humanizing their message. I thought it was great. So anyway, very
Yeah.
long answer to your question. But what was your favorite part?
No, I Seth's talk was great. I think the patient acquisition and marketing is super important, especially with the clients that I deal with. Um, and I'll tell you a little bit more why I think his talk was great. But I first want to also mention my second favorite was Mike Nathan's talk, because
Hmm.
I think that he's so dynamic and he's done so many things and he's burned the boats. And I think there's a lot of us that go to the Content Cribs and network want to do that, right? We want to start our own enterprise, start our own business some point in our lives. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe 10 years from now.
Right.
And he is a huge resource to learn from and follow. And he's putting out some great videos and content every day on social media. But to tell you a little bit more about, to go back to why I love Seth's talk, not specifically what he was talking about, but more so the fact that him and Matthew are partnering up and sharing business ideas together and client ideas together to then go out to the market together, which I think is a huge part about why Content Crib is so great, is the networking and the ability and watching these people, grow business ideas together. What do you think about that?
Oh no, I totally agree. I thought you were going to talk about that they have cool, majestic facial hair. That's why you liked it so much.
Yeah, that too.
Um,
Yeah, I try. I got the peach fuzz. I can't quite
yeah,
grow,
no,
so my jealousy will be. I'll sit silent in my jealousy of it.
Um, no, that's a perfect example of the synergies and the kind of collaboration that occur because of Content Crib. I mean, and that's the kind of things
Yeah.
that you hear in the crowd, people talking about their different ideas and collaboration with different attendees. It was great, and I tell you, it's pretty, just and we didn't pay Seth a dime to do that. He just wanted to come out of the goodness of his heart and give that talk to people, and it was really cool. I mean, it was pretty inspiring, and just to learn. And I knew nothing about patient acquisition. I don't know anything about it, and I learned a ton. And some of the methods and strategies he's using, I'm going to use in my business for different things as well. So I loved it. No, I think that's a great great point. And Mike Nathan, I know Mike. I didn't know Mike really hardly at all before Content Grip. I've gotten to know him a lot lately, so we've had a lot of dialogue, and he is truly inspirational. He will be a Content Grip 5.0 to everybody. So,
Yep,
and
super
yeah,
excited
and I
about
think
that.
he's going to give us a little bit of a talk as well. Of actually, I was just going back and forth with him earlier today about that. So, yeah, it just the guests at 4.0 were just incredible. Everybody really, really stood out. They were all really good.
Yeah, and I think that if you're on the fence of attending a content crib or not, and you haven't yet, I think it's a good. This is definitely a good way to kind of hear more about it, and you know, and maybe get some of the tips and tricks as we learn and we talk about too, and share some of the stories. And I really enjoyed Dr. Scott Sigmund's talk, the Fro.
Yeah.
Did you have any ideas on as a physician leader, how to get started? And Scott Sigmund, I mean, you see us following on Instagram and LinkedIn. I mean, he is the gold standard of physician branding, putting your voice out there. If you're a new physician and you're thinking about attending Content Crib and you want to create content, just thinking about what are some of the ways that you would recommend to get started, not just as a healthcare marketer or whatnot, but as a physician specifically.
Well, and you bring up Dr. Sigmund. It's a great point. What I would encourage every physician that's listening right now is, if you haven't, go into LinkedIn and type in Scott Sigmund, MD, and just go through all of his posts. And then I want you to realize that he started where you are right now. He had never posted anything at one point in time, and he has just become a juggernaut with it. And if you talk to him, he'll tell you about, I remember the first time I came across this podcast, and he was like literally in his master bedroom closet, and there was like clothes behind him, and he was like doing a podcast talking. And he came on on my podcast, and it was just, so I say all those things because everybody starts somewhere. And when you see where he's gotten to, it's just been because of, he just one day hit record and decided to go after it, and he did.
Yeah. No, I think that, in terms of content creation and as a physician, it's hard because you see all the, the Instagram. If you're on Instagram, most people are. You see the dancings and the scrubs, and that's the complete opposite of what you're trying to do as a physician and what you want to do in creating authority in the space, and exactly what we talk about. And it's none of that, right? Wouldn't you say?
I totally, yeah. And it's, sharing your why. I don't, that's a big thing that I say all the time, is that what you need to do, because people really want to know your patients. As Dr. Sigmund says, your ideal patients, not only just all your patients, your ideal patient, because you want your ideal patient to come in. He tells a story of a lady who saw him on LinkedIn and was utilizing a revolutionary new implant for ACL surgery. She flew from Atlanta, Georgia to Boston to have surgery. And why is that? Because she saw him on LinkedIn and she saw what he was doing and why he was doing it. And so that's pretty darn powerful for a patient that wants to travel to do that.
Yeah. And those stories, they're contagious. And I think that's super important. So we're about on time. I wanted to touch on a little bit what else, Eric, to expect from the podcast going forward, from us two hooligans trying to do this for everybody.
Yeah, unadulterated level of BS on some things. No, I'm kidding. I think what we're, this is just going to be the two of us talking. We're going to probably spend about 5 minutes beforehand sharing ideas of what we're going to talk about. And then we might not talk about those ideas at all. But what we're going to do is be very blatantly honest about what we see, what's happening, what we hear is working, what's not working, and when we get guests that come on, the opportunity to talk to them about what they're doing. And it's just a place for you to learn. It's going to be a valuable resource that if you're riding down the road and you say to yourself, boom, I'm going to listen to the Content Crib podcast. Here it is. And that, by the way, just giving some people, it's going to be on every single podcast platform. We're going to be, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, we're going to be on all of them. So wherever you listen to your podcast, that's where we'll be.
Yeah. And I think that it's going to be super cool to have on some of the Content Crib loyalists and guests, right?
Yeah.
So if you're listening, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll, get you scheduled and tell us your story, right? Because that's going to be a big part about what we do, right? Is telling your story. And we want to hear how content is working for people in our group, tips, tricks, consistency tricks, all that good stuff. So I'm excited.
Yep.
It's going to be good. And we're going to do this. We're committed to weekly. We're not going to fail like 99% of other podcasts that don't get more than 3 episodes out there. So
yeah, the statistic is
you have our commitment.
97, like it's like 97% of podcasts only do 1 to 3 episodes, and then that's it. They're over. So we have committed to doing this for forever. No, for the
forever,
for years to come, and help as many people as we can. So, down in the notes of the podcast, we'll get links to Content Crib and all those other fun stuff that we've talked about. So you'll always have at least a resource guide of where you can go to find that stuff.
All right, till next time, my friend.
Yeah, awesome. All right, one down.
Awesome.
7,652 to go.
Let's do
All
this.
right. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Take care.